Okay. Very good evening, everyone. Time is 7 o'clock, so let us start the session on time as per our practice. On behalf of MTC Global family, I extend a hearty welcome to all the participants, and we have quite a good number of students also from RJPS PM Pune, and their director, Dr. Dhananjay Baguli sir, is also there with us. It's a great pleasure, and I'm sure that students will be definitely benefited. Beyond that, we have some faculty members also as a participants for today's session. Few research scholar also are there with us this evening, and I'm sure that collectively, today and tomorrow would be enriching for all of us. We have with us Dr. Vasanthi Reena William, ma'am. So I'll just introduce ma'am one sec, because many participants may not be not knowing ma'am. So it's better always if we connect with our leader. Dr. Vasanthi Reena William is an academician and researcher presently affiliated to Vidya Vikas Institute of Engineering and Technology, Mysuru, as professor and heads the Department of Management Studies. Her experience spans 3 decades. She was past chairperson of NIPM Mysuru chapter. She is a reviewer for international journals and has been awarded associate reviewer by IJDS. She is an active member of several professional bodies and worked on funded projects. It's a great pleasure to have ma'am with us today and tomorrow, despite of her busy schedule, and sure that will make use of her precious time with us. And I'll request all of you, please keep yourself in mute position until unless you have something to ask or raise a questions, because we have quite a good number today. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I please request you to take over the session. Ma'am, you are not audible. Please unmute yourself. Yes. Little
Am
bit.
I? Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I missed that out because it came a little earlier. Thank you so much, sir. Firstly, I thank you for the opportunity, because any opportunity to share knowledge is always good for a teacher. So, with this, I carry on. This is a hands on research development program. And hence, I request, I think sir has already informed you all to keep a pen and paper or book ready, so that it is easy for us to work on whatever we plan to do. So let's move forward because the time is too short. The contents of today's program, okay, both the days will be having some activity, and hopefully by the end of tomorrow you will get a fair good idea, and if you practice you will be able to write an article. I am also informed that many of the participants for this RDP are students, and hence I've tried to make it as simple and easily understandable as possible. For those who are research scholars, or those who need something more, you're always free to ask, so that I can give you my suggestions, or my share my knowledge for this. So the contents for today will include this. Of course, I need to tell you the significance, because as I understood, many of you are students. Hence, I just need to tell you why we need to do research. So we'll be talking about the significance, the kind of skills you require, the approach towards research, and the why do we need to do literature review, the process of doing a research paper, going towards that. The framing of a hypothesis, types of research design, sampling, and then we end up with the activity which includes all these things. And the second day, again, we'll take this forward, and at the end we'll have another activity. So this is what I have planned for you all. Now, coming to the process of research, now everywhere throughout the world, there's a lot of importance given to research. And the significance of research is what we see around us. When we talk about industry, we are in industry 5.0. So what it means is we have developed so much in technology that we have so many things. I think I'll mute. Yeah, I think this will be more clearer. Okay, so we see that there is so much of improvement in every product or service that we have availed of till now. Anything for that matter, what was available even just 2 years ago is quite different from what we experience today. That is because of the kind of improvements in the product or the service. And this is, see, for example, maybe some 20 years ago, some not 20 years ago, much before that, the example that I just thought of and I'm giving you, we never had too much of instant products. Okay, but then at that time that was quite okay. But now more and more women, more and more people are you have less of homemakers and we have more of working women. So what is happening is, to take care of both the home as well as give justice to home as well as to office becomes very challenging. And hence they are looking for products and services that can make it easy for them. And what do we come up with? Lot of instant products. Now I'm not talking about the health concern and all, I'm talking only about the convenience part. So how do you come up with conveniences? The convenience is through technology. And what is technology? That also is through research. Product improvement is through research, right? So that is the significance of research. But many people might find research as very boring and not required, or why do we have to study, and things like that. But trust me, once you get into it, you will understand the significance, because you would have gained so much of knowledge about that particular topic that you have studied, that it will help you so much. So research is simple, very simple. We tend to make it complicated. The reason why we find it is complicated is because we need to follow certain guidelines. Okay, that's the only glitch there. If you follow the guidelines, everything else happens, because we are so much used to technology. We always want the results to happen immediately. We jump steps. So that is the only criteria that makes you happy or unhappy about doing a research study. So the process of research, as you can see on your screen, is methodical. That means it has to be disciplined. You have to follow it continuously. It's something like exercise. You want a 7-pack, then you can't get it in one day, right? You have to continuously start working towards it. Similarly, research is methodical. It has to be systematic. That means you have to follow a certain logic. It has to be specific. That means you're working on something, you've identified something, then you start working towards it in an orderly manner. It has to be meticulous. Meticulous means, see, even cooking is a kind of a research. It's not that you're just eating something, you're coming up with something new. You suddenly understand that I can use a new vegetable into this dish and make it more tasty. See, nowadays I've heard about idli and dosa is the South Indian meal, breakfast meal. And I hear many of my students talking about dosa with the cheese. Now, cheese is not paneer, of course, but regular cheese is not an Indian item. But you're finding dosa with cheese. And there are a lot of people who prefer that. So how did it happen? Somebody tried it, right? So that is part of research. So it has to be meticulous, it has to be rigorous means you have to put a lot of effort. You can't just do it one day and then come back after 10 days and think, what did I do? No. So if you keep these points in mind, the rest is a cakewalk for you all. Okay, so let me move forward. This is basically what I wanted to say, the process of research. um, yes. uh, Now, why do we have to do a research? I've already said this. I'm not going to, waste time here, because let's go get into the activity part and move forward. So you understand, by research, we get to know many things. We understand things in a much more detailed manner. There are certain things which you would have presumed, thinking that would be the cause of it. But then when you do research, you understand it's totally different. And there's something else that is causing that problem. So it may be a problem in a company. It may be problem about selling of a product. It may be you would have given so much of advertisements that you thought that your sales would shoot up. But then only when you do research, you identify the cause was totally different. Maybe the supply chain wasn't proper. So there's a lot of linkage between research and coming to proper conclusions and proper decision making. So that is the significance of research. Now, we are getting into it now. The skills now. You may wonder, what are the skills required for a researcher? So to be a researcher, you require these three skills, important skills. One is you need to be a good observer, because only then you will be able to identify on what you can do your research on. So you need to be a good observer. So observation skill is important. Secondly, you should be able to think critically. Why this? Why can't it be this way? So to get an answer to why it can't be this way, you can work it out and check and find out if your proposition will work or not. And that is the critical thinking. And then the next is analytical skills. So you should be able to, when you get data is, you would have collected some information. You should be able to analyze that data and then come to a conclusion, yes, this can work. Or say, supposing you want to introduce a new product uh, in the market. So you first collect some information about what are the existing products in the market. Are people happy with the product, or what are they looking for in that product? What will make it more attractive? So when you do that, you analyze it, and then you implement it in the product that you're going to sell or introduce in the market. The product will become a instant success. So how did you make it successful? You've collected information, you analyze that information as to how many people liked it, majority liked it, or majority did not like it, because so you got all these answers. So based on that, you can use that information to incorporate it into your product or service and then sell it. That makes it successful. And yeah, various approaches to research. You have the quantitative. This is just a general theoretical part. I need to add a little bit of theoretical aspects so that the foundation is set, and the practical component becomes easy and convenient for you all. So these are the various approaches. I'm just reading it quickly, because you can always get an answer from your textbook. So it is not something very difficult for you to understand. Yes, I see Radhika Patel has raised her hand. Is there anything, please? Radhika Patel. Hello? Is there a question?
She might be accidentally pressed him.
Okay, fine. No issues. So going back, when we are talking about the various approaches to research, One is it's not in a particular order as such, what I mentioned. It can be in anything, but these are all basically the various approaches to research: quantitative, qualitative, analytical, persuasive, cause and effect, experimental, survey, problem solution research, and report research. So these are some of the various approaches to, you can say, to research. And now this is something. So these points, please keep in mind. Okay. One is the previous one which I mentioned: skills required for a researcher, that is observation skill, critical and analytical skill. And coming to this one, approach to research. So the kind of approach that you can use for research: one is library, you can call it as library research, or it is a secondary study, your research based on secondary study. That is called a library research. Some even call it as desk research, some call it that way as well. So it is qualitative in nature, because you are reading a lot of articles on a particular topic, and then you're analyzing that, and you're seeing what is this person A saying something about that particular topic, B, C, and you go ahead and then give your own opinion based on that. That also can be a research form of research, and that kind of research is called as library research. And the other one is the field research, wherein you go out, meet customers, or if you're doing it on a company, you want to know whether the appraisal system adopted by the company is being favorable across all the employees. So you have to meet the employees, right, to find out whether they are happy with the appraisal system or not. So this is field research, because you're going, meeting people, you're sharing with them maybe a Google form or maybe a questionnaire, and collecting data, and then you're analyzing the data and coming to a conclusion. So that is field research. So library research or desk research is where people have already done studies, and you're taking all those studies, downloading them, or going through journals, and you're analyzing it based on their outcome, and then giving your opinion. This is a desk or library research. Field is you're going out to the field. Field is not the regular field. It means that you're going out, identifying respondents, asking them to respond to your questions, and then you're analyzing the answers and coming to a conclusion. That is field research. And laboratory research. Now here again, when I say laboratory, it would, in your mind, it would mean for people of social sciences, like those who are studying management, and maybe MSW, or economics, or law. We all come under basically the social science. You might feel, why laboratory research? For people like us, yes, laboratory research is there. It's not only for the basic science students or researchers. Laboratory research, for example, could be you're implementing a new process in the organization. Okay, you want to reduce the time taken for a process to happen, because you feel when the time is reduced, the other resources are also reduced, like electricity and all that. So you're working on something like that. So you are testing it to see whether the same quality, the output is the same, because you're looking at reducing the cost of the product through that. So that can come under laboratory research. Okay, so I hope I'm making myself clear. If you have any doubts, please make a note of it, so that at the end I can always clarify them, or you can even stop me and ask me. Okay. These are the approach to research. So you can choose any one of these. Okay, you can use any one of these approaches to do your research study. And this is again theoretical, just to make you get a catch up of the topic that we are discussing now. So when you say research methods, because you find this in if you're going through some textbooks, you might come across these kind of terms. So what is this research methods? So to conduct a research, a researcher uses some methods. Okay, so this method could be the way in which you are going to whether you're going to use a questionnaire or whether you're going to use a Google form to collect the information. So you might feel a questionnaire, I have to go meet people, whereas a Google form, I can just, I can use technology and share it across. I can get people from America also to answer my respond to my questionnaire. So that is a method. Okay, so I just gave you a small example. And when you're talking about methodology, it's like a blueprint is like, an overall picture of how you plan to do your research. Okay, so that's about research methods. Now progressing through a research study, how do we go it? First step, what should you do? One is you need to get a topic, right? You can't do a research study without a topic. You need a topic. Now, how do you get a topic? And how does a researcher identify a topic and go ahead with the study? So one of the method is you brainstorm ideas. Brainstorming means you discuss with your friends and you talk to them. It could be casual, and that could give you an idea as to whether that is feasible or not. You can attend conferences. You'll have lot of topics being shared, lot of papers presented, and maybe some topic can catch your interest, and then you too can start pursuing, use that topic and start working towards progress towards that. You can also read journals. Even there you get a lot of ideas on topics, and then you can go forward. So once you do that, these are all initial steps that I've mentioned here that makes it easy for you. Then you prepare a brief introduction about that study. So see, when you start preparing a brief introduction, you will be able to start, it will create curiosity and it will help you to delve more and find out more about that topic. And then sometimes, honestly, you might choose a topic, but then after you go into the introduction, you understand, no, this is not what I really want to do. It's not a problem at all. You can check it out, deviate from that, or you can, if you feel that it's not going any further, you can always go in for another topic. It's not wrong, and there's nothing bad about it. In fact, you got to know that this topic is not going to be useful for you, or it is not of any interest to you. There's no topic which is bad. It is only a matter of being interested or not being interested in moving further in on that particular topic. And then you can give a time frame. So now, since most of you are students, you will have a time frame of maybe 6 weeks to finish your project study. That's how it is, as I understand. If it is a research scholar, they have a specified period of time to complete their literature review and each part of the whole thesis before they submit it. So it is 3 years in some universities, 4 years in some universities, and so on. So you have a time limit. So don't wait. When you say if it is you have 6 weeks, then usually it is 6 weeks is 1.5 month. I still have a lot of time. No, don't do that. In the initial part of the session, I told you it is a rigorous process. It needs some discipline. It has to follow certain processes. So please remember that. If you follow that, it will never be a pain. It will be a pleasure. And you will be so confident in answering them that it, in fact, it is more like you become addicted to looking at things and doing a research. In fact, I can say this, that before you did your you joined your post graduation, you would have definitely done a research unknowingly. That is, you would have found out what you could take up after your graduation, or definitely that is one question. So you would have explored to find out what are the courses available, and then among them which you think is going to be useful for you. So that is also research. And then next would be, which institute or which college shall I join to complete my study? Again, you would have done a research, probably based on the quality of education. Sometimes you look at both quality and the cost of completion of the education. That's also research, right? So just like that, this similarly, but here, there you did it unknowingly, here you are choosing a topic and then you're going forward. So when you're doing it, to ensure that it is successful, keep a time frame, a timetable for the completion, and then you identify the chapters and then try to say, I'll finish this within this time, I'll finish this. That's always a discipline is always must, not only for research but even for our daily lives, correct? So try to do that. So once you do that, and yeah, this is another important point, each and every time you go through any of the literature on, yeah, nowadays it is very easy for you to get a lot of literature available at the click of a button on your mobile, on your laptop. So every time you go through any article, you download an article, please maintain the links, please maintain the names, have a proper folder wherein you write the name of the author and so on and so forth, because that is also a very important part of your research. That also has to be included, because many a time initially, um, uh, when you start doing research, you go through some articles and then you forget about it, and later on as you progress, suddenly you remember, oh, that there was one article done by some xyz person and that was very interesting, I want to know how they did the conclusion, or how did they do the introduction, or how did they do the analysis. You will find it very difficult in this ocean of the internet.
Bharat Mata ki jai! Bharat Mata ki jai! Haro, haro! Haro, haro!
Mr. Shubham, can you, yeah, thank you. So what happens is, in this ocean you get drowned. So if you start maintaining these citations, means citation means the links to from where you've got this information. Maybe even the date sometimes will also help. So then there are different methods. I will not be going into all those things, but you can understand those concepts when you start looking into articles. I'll share those articles with you so that you get an idea. As I already mentioned, this is more activity hands-on, so I'm trying to cover as much as possible. And now I said literature review. Now, what is this literature review? You already know. These are literature means articles that are already available. That's a literature. An article in the newspaper is a literature. An article published okay, students who have, you go to your library and you find that your seniors have published their project study. That is also literature. Okay, so anything that you go through which is already published, okay, you go through for your understanding, for gaining knowledge, or for imbibing ways and means through which you can do your research, is all called review. Okay, so literature review is your reviewing what is already published. So how do you get these articles or things through which you can review? One is through journals. Of course, what I mentioned there is not it's not necessarily journals first and textbooks. It's just that I put it in that way. Okay, maybe an official gazette. Why do you need an official gazette? Maybe you're doing a study to find out how many, as per the census, how many women are working in the area of in Mysuru. Then I go to the official gazette to get the actual information. Similarly, how many female children were born. Maybe I need that for my research because I am doing a study on baby food. Okay, so maybe Nestle wants to know that. So you get information from there. That is an official gazette. It could be from the newspaper. It could be from electronic databases, your internet, or it could be conference papers, research reports, theses, textbooks, and so on. So these are all ways in which you can get your collect information. So how does that literature review? It is a very, very important part of your study. Remember, because that helps you to frame your questions. Questions means your title, to identify the right title and how to go forward. Because sometimes, as I said earlier, the title would be good, you think that the topic is wonderful, but then when you start reviewing literature, you understand that there's already so many studies already done on that, and if you add on, it's not going to help you in any way. Or you also get the literature review will also help you identify the new ways in which you can do your study. Or you'll be able to identify some areas where not much study has been done, and that we call it as the gap. Okay, so literature gap, so I mean the research gap, sorry. So when you identify research gap, that gives you that much of a motivation to go ahead with the study, because not very many have done that. And what happens is there'll be a lot of people who want to know what happened through your study, because you have identified a study which not very many people have done. So that is the benefit of doing literature, and it's very important. Now, coming to the next part, how do you frame the research questions? You have read a lot of literature, and then you want to, frame a question. Means here you're identifying a problem, or you're identifying on what topic shall I go ahead with my study. That is what I mean by framing a research question. So I've just mentioned a few here. It could be, or you can add your own. Okay, you can choose any one. You can. I hope you're with me and you're able to move forward. Here I mentioned one, that is preference of customers towards electric two-wheelers in Hyderabad region. Say supposing I'm in Hyderabad and I want to find out the preference of customer in that region towards the two-wheelers, electric two-wheelers. So that could be one thing which, after doing, could help an electric two-wheeler company to understand the mindset of customers in that region. So maybe if the or maybe which product, which brand is doing very well, so that the competitor knows what he has to do, or the person who you're giving this data to, information to, is a company who's already the ruler, the market leader. In such case, he is not going to stay quiet. He should not stay quiet. He'll know what he needs to do to remain at the helm of affairs. Okay, so that is one. Then maybe another study that I thought of just sharing was just that, randomly. One is feasibility of introducing training for senior employees during weekends. So this I just chose based on, I understand you all are from the management stream, so I chose to put in articles, these kind of research questions that could help you. So this is from the HR point of view. The first one is from the marketing point of view. The next one is work life balance. Maybe you want to do a study on the work life balance of employees in a specific service sector or manufacturing sector. Okay, or it could be investors perspective towards mutual fund investment, or it could be effective utilization of travel time by working women. So this could be more a socially relevant topic. So I just frame that, and you can come up with your own. Don't It's not necessary that you have to do the article that I'm going to give you, the activity that I'm going to give you. It's not necessary that you have to follow these things. I hope you're with me, and if you have any doubts, please ask. um, is there any questions? Can I go forward? Hello?
Please go forward.
Okay. Now, when you frame a research question, please keep in mind these things. One is, it should be feasible. Feasible means you should be able to take it forward. The things, like, supposing I want to know how do astronauts feel during the training. Now, the study is good, but then feasibility is a little difficult, because how many astronauts would you be able to meet to get the answer? right? So it should be feasible, it should be interesting, otherwise nobody is going to feel happy to even answer your questions or read your article after you've taken so much of trouble. So it should be interesting, novel, that is something new, come up with something different. It should be ethical, don't use wrong practices, and then it should be relevant. So if I do some a study on typewriters, this is outdated, nobody uses typewriters anymore. Now it's not that it is bad, but it is not as productive as a printer, as a laptop and a printer, or a desktop and a printer. So it doesn't serve any purpose, it's not relevant at all. So don't go for that, something that is outdated. And yeah, the next is why research questions, because we need to get objectives. Every day you get up, you will have something to, you just wake up and just go to college. Hello, Mr. Dhananjay, could you please mute? Yeah, thank you. So when you're talking about objectives, it's a goal that that helps you achieve something. Because without you just get up in the morning, you wake up in the morning, and then just at that time decide what you're planning to do. Should I go to college or not? See, that is not the objective that a person should have, right? So when you have an objective, you will ensure that it is fulfilled. That is how it goes. So even for research, you need to have objectives. So you've identified a question, now you need to have some objective. That is, you're trying to find some solutions by doing that research. What are you planning to do? Now I just go back to this question, so that I'm able to link that. Okay, now supposing the first one, preference of customer towards electric two-wheelers in Hyderabad. What is the objective of doing that? Why am I doing it? Simply, no, there is an objective. What is that objective? I want to know what makes customer prefer two-wheelers that is run through electric, the power. See, I want to know that. That is it. Okay, so that is the meaning of the objective that I mentioned. And that will also help you to frame your hypothesis. So now, what is a hypothesis? That will be your next question. Hypothesis is a presumed outcome. Like, if I go to that, I'll just go further because I mentioned that. Why research questions? I've used the same thing for answering. One is, what the first question was, the research question that I mentioned earlier, preference of customers towards electric two-wheelers in the Hyderabad region. It could be any region, it could be Pune region, Mysore region, Bangalore region, wherever, or it could be a small place as well, no problem. You're planning to do it. Now again, when I say you want to do it all India level, pan India, very good, but then feasibility, are you able to finish the study within your 6 weeks? So that is the meaning of feasibility. The topic is good, but the feasibility may not be possible. So if you are in a particular region, you are supposing you're from Bangalore, you can't do the whole of Bangalore also within 6 weeks. So probably you will do it in one particular area, maybe the northern part of Bangalore or southern part of Bangalore, something like that. Okay, so it helps you to get the objective. So one is to understand the customer preferences, as I mentioned there. For the second question, feasibility of introducing training for senior employees during weekends. So this objective is what? To analyze the outcome of a decision. What is a decision? Introducing training. If so, a company HR wants to introduce training for senior employees, he would want to know whether the outcome of that decision is going to be useful or not. And then the next one is work-life balance of employees in some specified area. So maybe it could be in the hospital industry, or because they always have too much of stress every day. They have, the kind of people who come to a hospital, it's not a happy place people would like to go to. And the nurse and the doctor are always stressed, because anytime a patient can walk in. It's not like, specifically from this time to this time, and an emergency can happen anytime. So their work life balance can go haywire. So you would want to know how you can help in maintaining work-life balance. So to identify solutions that will help employees enhance their productivity, because if you're stressed, you can't work well, right? So that is the objective of doing that study, and so on for the others as well. Okay, I'm not going to each point, because as we see this paucity of time, I'm more concentrating on the activity point. So next comes the research problem. So it might be a specific issue, or it could be a gap that you've identified, and based on which you are going to proceed towards your study, and that becomes your research objective. I think I've made myself clear, and you've understood the concept now. Now, coming to the first step, now you've gone through all these stages, and now we are almost, we entered into that, that vicious cycle now. So you've observed, you read, you collect, and then you identify. This is a sort of a revision that I've done so far. So you've done a lot of observation. I told you to do a lot of observation. I told you to read journals or newspapers, or brainstorm with your friends, maybe your teachers, there are a lot of people, even from company, you can talk to people, because they will give you a lot of inputs on real time requirements, more than just theoretical. They'll give you practical reasons why a research on a topic should be done. So that is also a very important thing that you can keep in mind. So you need to observe, I said, you need to read, and then collect as much information as possible, and then you'll be able to identify which area you is more what do you say, interesting for you to go through. So that is it. And now, please keep all this in mind, because this is how we are going to proceed. The process of your research. I hope you're making a note of all this. So the process of research. So what we have done, we have determined the problem or the opportunity. Like if I'm taking the first one, what I mentioned, we have identified the preference of customers towards electric bike. And then the second would be, so you've identified that. Then specify what information is needed. What information do we require now for that? We would require information based on, customers who have used both kind of vehicles, because only then they can say, yeah, electric bikes are better than the fuel run bikes. You would want to know. So you need to talk to those people. Then identify the source of the information. Who would be the source? Can anybody answer? Who could be the source of the information? You can type your answers, or you can answer also, no problem. Anything is fine with me. Who could, how do you identify the source of the information? You have determined the problem, that is, I mentioned, that is, you want to know the customer preference for electric bikes, and then you specify what information is needed. You want to know how good, whether both, between both.
We
uh,
can refer previous research.
okay, good. So identify the sources of the
Public
information.
survey.
Public survey. So in public survey, can you ask everybody?
No, clusters, specific clusters who buy those vehicles.
The specific clusters? Yeah, okay. See, generally, your answer is correct. Generally, you would not look for maybe a student of 4th standard, 5th standard. No, right? So source of information is whom? Who has, as
Uh,
you said?
Purchased
Yeah, you're
already
getting
electric
answer.
vehicle.
Correct.
But the main source of information could be details of customers from the showroom, electric bike showrooms.
Yeah. So if you go there, you'll get all of them. Otherwise, other places you have to keep asking, have you used electric bike? Are you interested? It takes time. Exactly. So you're coming to the point. Wonderful. Then you decide on the technique for acquiring the information. What technique are you going to use? Are you going to share Google Forms? Then again, you should get their phone numbers and all that. Or are you going to, the method that you're going to use, the technique, or maybe you have questionnaire printed, and then you go to this showroom and ask those people to collect information on behalf of you. Okay, then gather the and process. So once you have given shared ways, or maybe it could be interview, that is also a way of collecting information. Direct interviews, that's also a way of collecting information. So once you've collected all that information, you gather. That is the fifth step. You're gathering, and then you're processing the information. I'll be showing you that also, but then keep all this in mind. So first is you determine the problem, that is you want to identify who is going to the preference of your customers, whether they like electric bikes or the fuel run bikes. Then you have specified what information is required. You have specified in your studies. There's many things, though it's just I mentioned electric bikes, there are many faces through approaches to that study. And then you identify the source of that information, and then you decided what technique you're going to use to collect that information, and then you gather all that information, you analyze it. Once you analyze, you'll come with an answer. The answer would be, yeah, many people prefer electric bikes. Other one would be maybe in some other area it might be, no, they're all scared to use electric bikes, they're worried about shock, so that is why they are avoid using it. The third would be people like it but they don't get electricity connections, so they're afraid to or not afraid, they're hesitant to buy. So how did you get that? Because you process the information. That is step 6. You analyze and you're interpreting the meaning, and then you're going to present the findings. That is the step 7. This is basically the process of research. Okay, it is once you get into it, you're always doing it. Once you start working, you're always doing research in some way or the other. Either you're doing a part of it, your boss is giving you a part of it, or your boss is giving you the whole part, all the stages to do. He might divide it into 3 groups and give the first 2 to somebody, the second, third, and fourth to somebody, the fifth and sixth to somebody, and maybe the analysis to somebody. So once the findings have been done, decision making becomes more clear and specific, more correct also. So to make the decisions correct, what is important? The data that you collect should be correct. If the data is not correct, then your findings also will be wrong. So again, how should the data be correct? Identifying the right respondents. Now, who are respondents? They are the people from whom you're going to collect the information. They are called as, whom we call as respondents. That is, in research, we call them as respondents. Okay. Now, I hope you understood. This is what I actually wanted to tell you. This is for customer perception towards electric two-wheelers. We just did it. So I'm just skipping this slide. It's like a reminder. Now, you can have a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a statement. I told you it's a presumption. We already spoke about it. So now a hypothesis is an assumption or a presumption about a population. Population means about, population is not that regular population. We are talking about that group of respondents who are going to give us responses. Before you collect a response, you are presuming that it might be like this. It might be like this. So that is called as a hypothesis. And what you presume is always called as the null hypothesis. Null. That means you wish to nullify that through some justification. See, everybody thinks it is like that, but it is not. How? You justify and you do some statistical analysis. All that is a proof to say that you nullify so that hence it is called as a null hypothesis. Okay. The opposite of the null is always the alternate hypothesis. So now if I've given an example there, the null hypothesis it's depicted by not H naught. Naught is a small 0. It's a smaller version. I'm not able to write here. Let me see if I can insert and pen. It's like this. It's not very proper for me to write. Naught is like this. It's not that whole naught like this. What is mentioned here. My typing is not correct here. So it has to be like this. So that is H naught. And alternate hypothesis is H1, which will be next to it. That's how it is. Okay. I'll just erase it. Otherwise, we'll have this problem everywhere. So that is how you can always get more information about H1 and H0 and all that. You can read further as you go further. Now, how do you get data? You have two ways of collecting data. One is through primary source and the other one is secondary source. I'm sure you all know about it. Primary is where you are going out, meeting, identifying respondents and collecting information. That is primary. You identify the time, place, type of person you want to meet and collect information. All that comes under primary sources. And secondary sources are sources which has already been done. Okay, I told you desk research. So you can do a PhD also using desk research. So it's secondary data. Somebody has already done that, and then you're reading that, and then from that you're collecting information and giving your opinion and suggestion. This is secondary sources. Okay. I think we just have a little few more. I don't want to waste time. Okay. So now business research design, that actually gives you, it's more like, a framework within which you're working, and it helps you to, not get distracted. That is why we use a research design. So it tells you what your study is about, why the study is being made, where the study is being made, what type of data is required. So when you know these things, you don't get, you don't mess up your study. You become more focused, and it becomes easy also for you to collect. See, now if I have to interview a person, I'm just giving you an example. If I have to interview a person, if I don't even ask who that person is, and I just tell them, okay, tomorrow evening, and then 6 o'clock, they tell me to go meet that person. And when I meet that person, I realize that person is an academician, and then from the economic stream. So then I should know the right questions to ask. So if I want to make that interview good, what should I do? I should have identified who that person is, what kind of person he or she is, what are their likes and dislikes, what are their areas of interest, what are their achievements, and in what way can our institution be benefited by the association with this particular person. So when I know all, and what is the things that my institute would need from such a person, but if I have such questions with me, then I can utilize the time that I get to meet that person and interview that person more fruitfully, isn't it? Similarly, for a research study, this business research design, I said business because, as I said, I find most of you from, this is what I understand, most of you are from the MBA background, with an MBA background, and hence I use that word. Then, yeah. Now coming to sampling. Now, how do you identify sample? Now, after this slide, I'll be going to a little bit of theory, okay? Because without that, you might find it a little, confusing. I think so. So, what is sample? So, this is not what I drew. This is an image that I found. I think I have to. No. Okay, fine. Now, if you look at this, say supposing I want to, okay, let's go back to the same study. We discussed about preference of electric bikes in Hyderabad region. So when I said Hyderabad region, the whole of Hyderabad can be my target population, right? Meaning not the whole of the population, all those who have used electric bikes. It's the whole of Hyderabad. That becomes my target population. But I also told you, you are doing a project and the project is for 6 weeks. You cannot go to the all those people, and find out. So what you'll do is you'll identify in Hyderabad. So this green area, if we consider this as Hyderabad, and you're using one place in Hyderabad, okay, that becomes your sampling frame. I hope I'm making it clear. I found this image. I found it as very simple to understand. Hence, I've used it. So, if this whole green shade is Hyderabad region, You can't go. If you can, wonderful, but time doesn't permit. It's not feasible. So what you're going to do, you're going to take one area in Hyderabad, and that becomes your sampling frame. Now again, in that area you cannot use the whole of them. So what are you going to do? From, so supposing there are 1,000 people here, you can't go meet all the 1,000. It's enough if you meet. There's a formula, okay, for your information. You have formulas to identify the feasibility, or what should be the number of if this is the total number of population in the like I said 1,000, how much should be the minimum number of respondents I require for my study? So it may be 300. There's a table also. You don't have to break your head on that. You can easily find that. So just understand this. So if Hyderabad is my population, target population, I can't go to everybody in Hyderabad. Maybe there are 1 lakh people there. So what I do is I identify one area in Hyderabad, and in that one area I identify that they are around. From Hyderabad, I identify one area, that is one particular area, XYZ area. That XYZ area has 10,000 people. I can't go meet all the 10,000. So from 10,000, I identify maybe 50 men, 50 women, okay, and that makes it 100. That will be my sample. So that will be the sample. Why have I taken men and women? So I get the opinion of both men and women on whether more men prefer that or more women prefer that. That will also be a very important input for the manufacturer. So this is how a sample is identified. Let me give you one more small example. Say supposing your college decides to decide to take all of you all on a tour, and they want to know there are 2 places, X and Y. So they want to decide which place would be preferred by the students. So what they do is they'll call a few students. They're supposing there are 100 students in class. It's not necessary for them to ask all the 100. Similarly, they can't just ask 10 from 100. They can't just ask 10 and decide. Supposing all the 10 don't like place A or place X, it doesn't mean that the rest 90 also don't like X, that place X, correct? So maybe they'll have to ask around 30 or 40 students, and then take the majority and find out whether they should take the students to place X or place Y. So these 40 students out of the 100 is called the sample. I think that is clear now. So that's another important thing. Now I said I'll be going to a little bit theory before we start with the practical thing. So this is the sampling method. Now I guess you understood what is a sample. So sampling methods could be either probability or non-probability. I'll just quickly go through that so that you won't find it difficult when you're choosing, or you will require this not while choosing your population, or you're choosing your identifying your what do you say, your respondents, but you'll need it when you are writing an article. So that is the reason I'm going through it. Okay, so I told you there are 2 methods of sampling. One is probability and the other one is non-probability method. So here I'm just showing you through this diagram images what is non-probability sampling. So when I'm looking at convenient sampling, it's convenient for me. Whoever I see, I just pick them up. Now I want to know people, what is the opinion of the travelers, travelers traveling by train. So convenient sampling is I just go to a railway station. So everybody would have traveled by train there, right? Obviously. If I go stand on the some circle near a traffic signal and then ask everybody, have you traveled by train? They might be somebody who has not traveled. So I have to keep asking. Okay, that kind of what do you say, method of collecting, finding out and identifying only people who qualify for my answer, that is judgment sampling. But if I go to a railway station, obviously everybody there are just alighting, from a train, right? Or they're getting ready to travel somewhere, or just arrived. So everybody is my sample. I can choose. I can just say whoever are walking, I can call them and ask. This is convenient sampling. Quota sampling is, like I told you, 50 men and 50 women. So I put that, and from 50 I collect 30 from here and 30 from there. So that is quota sampling. And then what is judgment sampling? I'm judging, I need only people who are above 30 years of age. So that is judgment sampling. You can have convenience and judgment also. So convenience, I go to a showroom selling electric bikes, and then I look only for those who are 30 and above and ask them. So it is convenient, but then it is through judgment sampling. So don't get very confused with all this. Just understand that they are basic concepts, and you can always read and understand. There are a lot of textbooks you can go through, but I'm just giving you this so that you can make it a part of understanding it as you dwell deeper into research article as you write or do your study. Now, coming to probability sampling, you have, these are the simple ones, that is simple random, cluster sampling, stratified, and systematic sampling. Again, when you're saying simple random, you have so many people and then you pick them. That is a simple random, something like convenience. In stratified, you have, you stratify or put them into different, male and female, and then from there you pick. And if it is cluster sampling, you make them into different clusters and then you choose, and so on. Systematic would be, every 10th person, every 20th person, something like that. So anyways, don't get too much worked up. Once you start getting into research, then I'm mentioning this not to confuse you, but to make you understand that these are also required as you go further into research. Okay, so basically at the initial stage that might not be very much required from your point of view. And for the research scholars, I think this is all, they understand this very well, and it might not be required for them at all. Because they would have known all this. And then there's one more stage, thing called as probability sampling, multi-stage sampling, which comes under probability sampling. And this multi-stage is like how you identify from the whole. I given an example like this. Now I want to do a study on electric bikes. I just took electric bike, not that I like it, but then we are talking about pollution, and there are so many developments happening, and so I just thought I can share that, take that as an interesting topic. So supposing I'm going to the whole, I need to do it in India. So I can't go to each and every state, every district in India. It would take many years for me to complete. And by the time, maybe it might be outdated and some new other new concept would have already come. So how do I do it? So what I do is I take, it's something like this, see, a sample, you're cooking rice. That's the most easiest, simplest example that I can share. You're cooking rice in a pot. You will not touch each grain and see whether it is cooked, right? You'll use your ladle, you'll mix it, and then take a little in the ladle, and then you just touch it with the tip of your fingers and see whether it is soft. If it is soft, then you understand that the whole pot is cooked. You don't have to touch each and every one, isn't it? The ladle that you have used, the ladle, and then you have picked up, that is called as your sample. So if it is for the multi-stage sampling, is like supposing I want to do a study in India. So then I identify some states, and in those states I identify some district, and in those districts I identify some taluk, and in those taluks I identify some households, and then the individual. That is multi-stage sampling. Okay, again, you can always go through that and understand it. And so one thing that you need to keep in mind is, how do you know that your sample is good? Because in one of the previous slides, I just said that if your sample is not correct, your results will be wrong. If I don't get the answers from the right person, then my results is definitely going to go haywire. So I have to identify the right person to give me the answer, to collect the data. So you should understand, these are the points that it's a good sample. One is homogeneity, that means they have all the characteristics required to answer. uh, and it should be sufficient. Like I said, your college wants to know which area to go for, a which place to go for a visit, place X or place Y, and there are 100 students. If they ask just 5 students, that is not adequate. They have to ask at least 30 or 40 students, and that is adequacy to know whether they should choose on what basis they have chosen to go to place X or place Y. And then independent, that is every unit, that is every respondent should be free to be included in the sample. Okay. And then representatives, they should be able to represent the so if your college is taking you on a trip, then it is the students they should ask. It should not be somebody from another department, it should not be somebody from another college. Representative of that institute or that class. Then economical in terms of money, time and money, and it should be reliable. That means the answers that you're getting should be what you think is correct. Okay. And now I think we are coming to this activity. Before I start with the activity, I just want to know, has it been have I been able to be clear enough for you to understand? Can we start with the activity now?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. You have been clear all the way. I would like to just get to know more about hypothesis. That what exactly
Okay.
meaning, and what do you mean by nullifying hypothesis?
Okay, null hypothesis. Okay, a null hypothesis is a presumption. You presume. Okay. For example, let me take the same example of your college going for a trip. Your college decides to come to Mysore because it's a cultural capital of Karnataka, and there's so many places that you can visit. Okay, so that is your college authorities feel that all the students, the 100 students in your class, I see, I'm not sure how many students are there, I'm just guessing. Okay, so there are 100 students in your class, and your college authorities feel that is a wonderful place to go, and the students will really enjoy all this, then lots of palaces and so many things, there. So they presume that all the students like it. Okay, this is a hypothesis, they are presuming. Now the null hypothesis is, you are nullifying that by saying Mysore is not the only place, there are other places as well which have a lot of wonderful things to be seen and enjoyed. So how do they nullify it? They check, and they ask all the students. Like I said, out of 100, at least they can't ask 5 students, they have to ask maybe 40 or 50 students. So they ask all those 40 students, not necessary to ask all the 100. So they ask around 40 or 50 students, where would you like to go? So if majority of them say that they like to go to, they show 2 places. One is say Dehradun, and one is Mysore. And let us say that majority out of 40, let us say 30 of them said Mysore. Then your null hypothesis, you cannot nullify the hypothesis, you have to accept that. That's the meaning. So it is like, a proof, because you have a justification to say why you choose to go to Mysore. Whereas if you thought Mysore is good, but then the students actually did not like to go to Mysore, all of them prefer to go to Dehradun. In such case, the alternate hypothesis becomes accepted, and it means that it is not what you think is good. Your students feel another way, think another way. Okay, we'll do one activity. I think that will clarify. But I hope, have you understood that, or is it more confusing?
Yeah, I understood now. I think it will more get clear with the activity. We'll let
Okay,
you know.
okay. Let's go ahead. Any other question? Any other question? Oh, Radhika Patel has again raised her hands.
What is about snowball sampling?
Okay, snowball sampling is See, sometimes to get respondents, it becomes difficult. You may not be able to identify. See, when I said you're going to a railway station to ask the passengers whether they are finding the travel comfortable or not, this is convenience sampling, and you're very sure that all of them have traveled because it's in a railway station, correct? Whereas for some questions, the respondents might be difficult. It might not be easy for you to get that respondent. So for example, maybe some particular medicine, okay, you want to know whether that medicine is effective or not. So what you need to do is you have to identify people who have used that, only then you can say whether it is effective or not. So what you do is maybe you go to one person who has used that medicine, and he may be able to guide and tell you, my friend, another friend of mine is also using that. So then you get another person, and then from that person you get another person. This is snowball sampling. The word snowball comes from the term, concept, not a term, it's a concept, that when you throw a small ball of snow from a hill, as it rolls, it becomes huge. So the meaning is derived from that. So snowball sampling is more like a network sampling. You start with one person, he will connect you to one person, that person will connect you to two more people, those people will connect you to other people, and that's how you collect information. So for some things it might be difficult for you to find the exact say right now, if I am to say you want to know the after effects of those who have taken particular COVID vaccine. Okay, so now there were different kinds of vaccines, right, which were given. So you would have taken one particular kind of vaccine. Now you want to know who are the others who have taken. It is going to be snowball. So you are going to ask that doctor who gave you the vaccination, and he may tell, yeah, when you came there were all these people, so you go and ask that person, that person will refer you to another person. That kind of sampling is called as snowball sampling. Have I cleared?
Thank you. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, how to analyze the qualitative data if you are getting it from interviews and all, no? So different opinions and all. It's not a quantitative. So what are the process to analyze this qualitative data?
I'm not able to get your question. Are you talking about how to convert qualitative into quantitative?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do an analysis and I'll show you. I think I'll be able to do that
Okay,
and
ma'am.
show you. I'll do a small activity for that. I'll do it tomorrow because we'll be doing some sampling. I'll be able
Okay,
to
ma'am.
show you. Okay,
Okay.
definitely. Any other questions? Okay,
No,
shall we
ma'am.
move?
No.
Okay, we'll move forward then. So now the first thing that I would want you people to do is choose any topic or area of your choice. First thing, please choose a topic or one area. Maybe area would be like a HR, marketing, finance, or something like that, or maybe social related as well. Anything, because I've given you examples related to all. So choose any topic, or you go to an area which you feel is an area of your interest. Okay, try doing that. I give you some time. As you're doing that, also think why you have chosen that topic. Why do you think it is significant? Now, if you have taken electric bikes, please don't take that. Take something else. Take something different. So, because so many answers have already been, shared. So, let's take something else. I'm just sharing this. So, if you have chosen electric bike, then why did you choose? What is the significance? There are more number of people using electric bikes, or it's just being introduced in a big way. It's becoming more and more popular. And But there's some people also who are hesitating. So maybe I think it is significant to know why they're hesitating, or is Is there any problem in using this? What's the difference? These are all the significance. Okay, so just giving you tips. Choose something else. Just giving you an instance where, because until and unless you practice, you will not be able to understand. Otherwise, I think it would not be fruitful to have this activity as well. Okay, have you chosen some topic? Are you able to identify the significance of that topic? Wonderful, thank you. How about the others? Be serious, choose a topic, and then identify why you choose. So when you choose a topic and then later you realize, okay, the significance is not good, if you feel like that, then choose something else. No worries. No worries. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Okay. I'll just put my power is going on. So the second, okay. So next is, you have chosen a topic and you've also identified why you choose the topic. Next, specify the type of research you wish to follow. Type of research, what's the type of research? I told you there are 3 types of research which you can follow, right? One is desk research. The second one is primary research. I hope you remember. You can follow any type. The third one is experimental research or laboratory research. You can follow anyone. You can choose. So once you've chosen your topic, second, you identify why is it significant, because this question helps you to identify, like, we are doing a fast track. So that is why. So identify why you're chosen that topic, because when you start identifying and giving some answers to that, you'll know whether it is useful or not, because then you realize, no, this is not interesting, let me look for something else. Now you've chosen that. Now we'll go to the next one, that is you've gone to specify the type of research, whether it's going to be desk research, whether you want to make it as primary research, or whether you want to make it as an experimental research. So experiment would be difficult at this moment. Maybe you can have a desk research, or you can follow the primary research. Primary research is better because both are good, but for the activity part, because we are going to do an analysis, maybe you can go for the primary research, because for the literature review, you would require to read a lot of literature review. Here I'm not asking you to do much. Okay, so is that done? Have you chosen the type of research you wish to follow? Do you want me to go back to that slide? You want to check that? Do you want to check that? Okay, then I go to the next. That is, you identify the place where you wish to do your research, in your area, in your street where you're staying, in your college. So maybe you have chosen something like Cadbury chocolates. You want to know which particular brand of chocolates people like, whether it's Cadbury's, whether it is Nestle, or Amul, or something like that. Maybe that is also fine. So you're going to identify the place where you wish to do your research. Where you wish to do your research. Is it clear? Have you done it? Yeah, you have chosen. I can. Um, yeah. How about the others? I do not know whether you're following or not. That's the reason I'm asking. Done. Okay. Anybody else? How about the others? Okay. One is I'm going back. You've chosen your topic. Thank you so much, Jadhav. You have chosen a topic. You have identified why you chose the topic. That is the significance. And then you also specified the type of research you wish to do. Probably the primary type of research where you're going to look for respondents. Then the next is you're going to identify the place where you wish to do it. That is maybe your college, maybe just your friends close by, or maybe people around your area, um, somewhere. Okay, you have decided. Next is you're going to do a literature review. Now, how do you go about a literature review? I told you, you can just type that topic on any one of the search engines, and you will get n number of study on, and then you mention your topic, you will get n number of articles available. So maybe you can just read one or two, or basically, at least that abstract is the summary of that study. It's okay, we are not getting into the actual thing. I'm just trying to help you, show you the way in which, because the time is too short, and within that I'm trying to make it very practicable and useful, and hence I'm using this method. So you can go through that literature review, the abstract, so that will give you an idea as to what kind of study has been done. Maybe a few you can just go through. Okay, that is literature review. This you can do it later, no problem. You can't do it now, but till the fourth point you should be able to do that. Okay. uh, to do it now, that is, choose the topic, identify why you've chosen, then specify the type of research you wish to do and the place where you wish to do. If this is done, now the next three is something that you have to keep ready by tomorrow. Okay, so one is go through review of literature or literature review, both are one and the same. Then frame your research questions. I told you what is research questions, why you want to do that. I gave you some examples. Objective means your goal. Why do you want to do that study? Okay, you choose that topic because you have some significance, and through the significance you're trying to come up with some answers. That is your objective. Okay, so you frame your, in research terms, we use this kind of phrases like framing research questions. Okay, or the research problem, identifying the research problem. These are the phrases that you use in research, so I've used that word. And then if it is a survey research that you're planning to do, if you're doing secondary research, I don't stop you, you can go ahead with that. But if it is a survey research, then you should identify suitable sample. So I think some of you already answered that question when I asked about how would you identify the source of information for the electric bikes. Then you said it will be blah blah blah. So if it is something like chocolates, so you just don't use chocolates, you say the age group, because children below 10 years might like a different flavor, whereas when it comes to people like youth like you, may like a different kind of chocolate. Maybe people of my age, we may like chocolates which are we know that chocolates are very fattening, so we want something that has will not have too many calories. We have those kind of choices. So you use only one age group, okay? That will be better. Make it simple. So identify suitable sample, and the sampling technique, whether it's probability, it is, I told you, snowball sampling and all is going to be tough. Don't go for that. Go for random sampling or something like that. Okay, so these are the activities that I would want you to do, because based on this, tomorrow we'll be doing the analysis, like Mr. Vaibhav was asking me, right? I think it is the right person. He was asking me about analysis. Once you do all this, tomorrow I'll be showing you some more examples of how we can go about it, and using the data, how you can collect the data, and then come up with. So you are coming up with, tomorrow I'll be showing you how to prepare a questionnaire. Right now, don't worry about all that. Any information you want, try to collect from them and keep it ready. Tomorrow I'll be showing you how to frame a questionnaire, and how to use the data that you collect from the questionnaire, and how you analyze. So I'll be answering the question tomorrow. I'll be able to answer you correctly tomorrow, because once you see that activity, you will understand it better, rather than me telling you, just having a discussion like this. Okay, so is there anything you would like to ask? Any doubts? Any clarifications? Please feel free. Is there anybody in the chat box? Yeah, I can only say yes, but any questions? Yeah, either you can ask me directly, or you can type it out and ask me.
Ma'am, I have understood about sample and population.
Okay,
Can you please explain about sampling frame, particular that
okay,
topic? That.
okay. Sampling frame. Now, you're from which place?
I'm from Pune.
Oh, okay, you're from Pune. And what is the topic? Can you tell me the topic that you have chosen?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have chosen a perception of hybrid cars, CNG and petrol of
Okay,
Pune
okay,
area.
okay, okay. So now Pune becomes your sampling frame.
It is my population, right, or sampling frame?
No, no, that is your frame. That is your area that you have chosen. Now you can't
Okay,
do your whole study using the whole of Pune, correct?
correct.
So what you're going to do is maybe one area.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Wait, I'll do
Fine.
one thing. I'll just go back to that slide. I think this is the slide. Correct? Can you see this slide?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Is the slide visible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
visible.
Ha ha. Can you see this? This target population is Pune. The green one is your
Correct,
Pune. Okay.
correct,
Now you can't go to Pune fully.
correct.
Right. So you're going to use one area in Pune. No, I do not know the area in Pune. You choose that area. Okay,
Okay, I
that is the
understood.
that pink color.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Now
Ma,
again, that full area.
suppose
Huh.
suppose I'm going for all over the Pune. So in that case, suppose I'm going to have all number of showrooms of
Huh.
hybrid cars, and
Huh.
I'm going to get 50
Huh.
samples from each showroom. Then what would be my sampling frame?
Your sampling frame, then it is Pune only.
Okay, okay. So here target population is equal to sampling frame.
For to make it simple and easy for you, it is yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, the area that you're choosing is your frame. Frame is, see, photo frame.
Yeah.
You're not
Okay.
going beyond that. You're not going beyond that.
Yes.
Simple. I'm telling you in the most simplest. See, you can. I'm just giving you all a very simple way of understanding and going, taking forward your research study. There is so much into this which I cannot cover within 1.5 hours. Okay, so I'm giving you a whole picture within this time. It's more like a breeze through, and this you can take forward. Once you get the hang of it, once you understand the concept, when you read anything, it becomes very easy and simple for you. So that is the objective. You would not require anybody's help. You will be able to go forward and take it forward. That is the objective.
I got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Any other doubts?
No, ma'am.
Anybody else? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay, somebody is asked, is sampling required for secondary data? No, for secondary data, you're not using any kind of sampling. You're choosing. So in case of primary data, if you're doing a study based on primary data, if you're going through, see, if you're doing as a research scholar, a PhD, you might be reading 300 and more. The more you read, the better you'll be reading. But when it is you, and then you're identifying your statement of research problem and so on and so forth. If you're doing a purely secondary research based on secondary data, then you will have to read more and more number of literature. It won't be sufficient if you just read 10 or 20 or something. But right now it's enough for you because I'm just trying to give you an exposure into the different ways in which you can do a research study. So that's the objective. That is one of your friends have asked, one of the participants. Any other questions? Okay, well then, I think we can call it a day. Tomorrow, we'll take this forward. I'll be discussing about how you frame a questionnaire, how should you collect your data. Now, you can definitely collect whatever information you can from maybe 5 or 10 people. That is enough at the moment because you will get to know how to ask questions and how to collect data. So, you can frame, because based on the objective that you have framed, you can ask a few questions. Please collect that. Tomorrow I'll be telling you how to frame a questionnaire, so you can relate to how you already ask questions and then to the method that I'm showing you, so it becomes more understandable. You understand where you went wrong, or if you have gone right, then you know that you are in the right track. So that is it. Once the questionnaire, I show you how to do the questionnaire, the next I'll be showing you how to analyze the data, how to fill the data. Maybe I'll show you, I'll do that. I'll show you using an Excel sheet, because that's the most simple and easy to understand. So I'll show you that, and then maybe we'll interpret that data, and I'll try to show you some sample papers as well. I'll try to look for papers on electric bikes itself, because I gave you a lot of examples on this. Definitely I'll look for that, and then I'll share that with you. So in the end, you'll know tomorrow by this time. I feel confident that you'll be able to take forward your research study. So shall we call it a day? So are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, shall we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you all so much. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.